Okay, here's the first thing you need to do in this video right here. What you need to do is you need to get one of these multiplication charts. Now, there's two ways you can get it. You just need to go to a Google search. Google. And then on Google search, just type in multiplication chart. And then after that, don't click enter, hit 25. Yeah, go to 1 to 25, 1 to 25, okay? And then you want to click this one that's got like a yellow line down this way, okay? Now you can either print that, okay? If you can print something like it, or you can just use this on the screen. It doesn't matter. Okay, when you're working the problems on your own, just use this on your screen right here. Okay, either way should work, but you will need it. Okay, because here's what you're doing today. It's something I don't think I've had you do before. It says solve the equation for x. Okay. 2x to the second plus 8x equals 0. Now, since the x is to the second power, the x has two different answers. Okay, it has two different answers. It's called a quadratic equation. Okay, when there's two answers, x to the second. Here, if you want to write that, quadratic equation. Now, when you have a quadratic equation, you want to label the number in front of the x to the second a, the number in front of the x b. Now, these problems are not going to have a c, okay? When you have an a and a b with no c, I've set all the problems equal to 0. You make sure you're equal to 0, you are. And what you're going to do is make this little box. You're going to make a parentheses with a line outside of it. And write the three letters GCF outside there. That stands for greatest common factor. Okay. Now here's what you do. You look at 2 and 8. You find the greatest common factor out of 2 and 8. Here's how you find a greatest common factor. Use your multiplication chart. Look at the smaller number 2. Go in the 2 row. Here's 2 is 8 in that row. Yes. So 2 is your GCF, okay? There's 2, there's 8, so 2 would be the greatest common factor. Now, after that's done, you also need to pay attention to the x's. That has x to the second, that has x. We need to also put x with the 2, so 2x. What I am doing is doing the opposite of the distributive property. Distribute, you go like that. I'm doing the opposite. I'm going backwards. I'm undistributing it. So what I then do is I go up here and underline both those, and I'm going to divide each of these by 2x. Now, before you divide, you want to cancel the x over the x. Not the x squared over the x, but the x over the x. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. Now, when I divide x, here's a rule you have to know. X second divided by x. Just watch this, you don't have to write it. X to the second means x times x divided by x. Now I cancel those and I still have x, okay? X second divided by x always equals x, okay? So after you put the 1, because 2 divided by 2 is 1, you're going to put x. Then 8 divided by 2 is 4, so plus 4. Now here's what that accomplished. I've separated the equation, put F1 and F2. This stands for factor 1, this stands for factor 2. You set each one of those equal to 0. Okay? Because this times this equals 0, so we set that equal to, so 2x equals 0 and 1x plus 4 equals 0. So here I just need to divide by 2, and that's 0. Here I need to subtract 4. 0 minus 4 is negative 4. And then you can divide by 1, but it's still negative 4. And those are your two answers. Okay. Next problem, I've got 6x to the second power minus 15x equals 0. So again, there are always two answers we have to find for all these. And also on your Google Doc, just punch in 0, comma, negative 4 for a problem like that. Just punch in the two answers, 0, comma, negative 4. Okay, again, a is your x squared, b. So a and b, I do that GCF. Okay, so 6 and 15, I find 6. Is 15 in that row? No. So I can't put 6 there. Okay. Now go up the chart. Go find 6 again. No, no. There's 6 and there's 15. So 3 will be the GCF. And then we also got to factor out an x. So I go up and divide by 3x. And always cross out the x's on the second one. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. X to the second divided by x would be x. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So I wrap that up in a parentheses, and I go F1, F2. So I go 3x equals 0, and 2x, and then later 2x minus 5 equals 0. So I divide by 3, and 0 divided by 3 is 0. 0 is always going to be one of the answers on this assignment today. Then I plus 5. 0 plus 5 is 5, and then we're going to divide by 2. 5 divided by 2. It's a decimal, so it's 2.5. That's pretty much all you do here. Okay, 3x to the second power minus 9x equals 0. So that's two answers. So there's A, there's B. So if I have A and B, I just do the GCF is what I call it. Okay. So I will divide each one of these 3 and 9. So I find the 3, the smaller number. Here's 3. And 9's in that row too, so I want to use 3 as the actual GCF. So x second and x would be x. And I divide by 3x. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. X second divided by x is x. Minus 9 divided by 3 is 3. Okay. Now you have F1 and F2. So 3x could equal 0. 1x minus 3 could equal 0. Divide by 3, get 0. Then I plus 3, and I get 3. Okay, 3 divided by 1 is 3. Okay, next thing, there's one thing I need to point out on the next one. Negative 16x to the second plus 80x equals 0. So there's two answers, because we have the A and the B. There's no C. 0 does not count as a C. Don't label 0 C. Okay, so AB. Okay, 16 and 80. Okay. So go to 16's row and see if 80's in that row. Hold on, sorry. This is Corey. Yep. Okay, so. Okay. Okay, you go into the back. Do you know the back parking lot? Yeah, you'll see the car in the grass. Yeah, so. Do you want me to warm it up then? Okay. All right, thank you. Yep, makes sense. All right, yep, bye. Okay, so the GCF, sorry about that, 16 and 80. Okay, so 16 and 80 is in that row too, so we're going to go with 16. We also need x. Now one thing you need to know, if your a is negative, then you need to make your GCF negative. Okay? If the a is negative, the GCF's negative. So we're going to divide by negative 16x. Cancel those. So negative 16 divided by negative 16 is 1, and x second divided by x is x. Then I'm going to take 80 divided by negative 16, okay, and that's negative 5. So if it's negative 5, you put minus 5, and then you're ready, okay, F1, F2. So either negative 16x could equal 0, or 1x minus 5 could equal 0. So I divide by negative 16, and that's 0. Then I add 5, and divide by 1 would just still be 5. 0 and 5. Okay, next one, 14x to the second power minus 28x equals 0. So we have two answers. You have A, you have B. Okay, 14 and 28, go to the 14th row. See if 28's there. Yep, so 14's my GCF. X second, x would need x. Then I go divide by 14x. So 14 divided by 14 is 1. X second divided by x would be x minus 2. Okay, then you got F1, F2. So 14x could equal 0. 1x minus 2 could equal 0. So we'll divide by 14 here, and I get 0. Then I plus 2, and I get 2. Okay, next one. Negative 24x to the second power minus 9x equals 0. So there are two answers. You have your A and your B. Okay, so 24 and 9. So let's look at the 9th row. Okay, there's a 9, but 24 isn't there, so go up. Go find 9 again somewhere up. Okay, there's a 9. Is a 24 in that row? Yep. 9 and 24 are in the 3rd row, so 3 is my GCF. And x, now remember what we said, if your A is negative, you need to make your GCF negative. So divide by negative 3x. So negative 24 divided by negative 3 is 8. And then I would have x on, not x second, x, because you're dividing x second by x, which gives you x. Then negative 9 divided by negative 3 is 3. So plus 3. Okay, so F1, F2. So F1, negative 3x equals 0, 8x plus 3 equals 0. So I divide by negative 3, and I get 0. Then I subtract 3, divide by 8, and I take negative 3 divided by 8, negative 0.375. Okay, last example. 8x to the second power minus 4x equals 0. So that would be two answers. A, B. Okay, so GCF. 8 and 4. Let's look at the 4th row, see if 8's, yep, 8's there, so I can use 4 as the GCF. X second, x would be x. Okay. Then I divide by 4x. 8 divided by 4 is 2. X second divided by x is x. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Okay, so F1, F2. So 4x equals 0. 2x minus 1 equals 0. So 0 divided by 4 is 0. Then I add 1. Divide by 2. 1 divided by 2, it's not 2, it's 0.5. Okay, and that's what you got there.